All right, we are in a series called WrestleMania, and we're gonna talk about how we wrestle and hustle, and we just saw the video. Even that little boy hustle to get what the boy wants, right? And how we wrestle with our lives or things happening in our lives to be happier. And we've been looking at the story of Jacob from Book of Genesis. And today's the second part of the series. I want to jump into today's passage, which is Book of Genesis chapter 29, verse 15 to 30. I'm going to read the passage for you. Here we go. Laban said to him, just because you are a relative of mine, should you work for me for nothing? Tell me what your wages should be. Now Laban had two daughters. The name of the older was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. Leah had weak eyes, but Rachel had a lovely figure and was beautiful. Jacob was in love with Rachel and said, I'll work for you 7 years in return for your younger daughter, Rachel. Laban said, it's better that I give her to you than to some other man. Stay here with me. So Jacob served 7 years to get Rachel, but they seemed like only a few days to him because of his love for her. Then Jacob said to Laban, give me my wife. My time is completed, and I want to make love to her. So Laban brought together all the people of the place and gave a feast. But when evening came, he took his daughter Leah and brought her to Jacob. And Jacob made love to her. And Laban gave his servant Zilpah to his daughter as her attendant. When morning came, there was Leah. So Jacob said to Laban, what is this you have done to me? I served for Rachel, didn't I? Why have you deceived me? Laban replied, it is not our custom here to give the younger daughter in marriage before the older one. Finish this daughter's bridal week, then we'll give you the younger one also in return for another 7 years of work. It's interesting, isn't it? And Jacob did so. He finished the week with Leah, and Laban gave him his daughter Rachel to be his wife. Laban gave his servant Bilhah to his daughter Rachel as her attendant. Jacob made love to Rachel also, and his love for Rachel was greater than his love for Leah, and he worked for Laban another 7 years. Okay, a few years ago, I think I saw this story on the internet, and I really enjoyed it, and I like to read this for you too. It's a very interesting story. It's coming up. My phone's working, but my phone is a cheap one, so it takes time. Ooh, okay, here we go. Ooh, here we go. Okay, here we go. Ooh, got it. Several men were in the locker room of the gym when a cell phone on a bench rang, and a man put it on a speaker and begins to talk. Everyone in the room stopped to listen. The man goes, hello, a woman. Hi, honey. Hi, honey, it's me. Are you at the club? Yes. I'm at the shop now and found this beautiful leather coat. It's only $2,000. Is it okay if I buy it? Sure, go ahead, if you like that much. I also stopped by Lexus dealership and saw this new model. I saw one that I really liked. How much? $90,000. Okay, but for that price, I want it with all options. Great. Oh, and one more thing. I was just talking to Jane and found out that the house I wanted last year is back on market. They're asking $980,000 for it. Well, then go ahead and offer $900,000. That will probably take it. If not, we can go to the extra $80,000 if that's what you really want. Okay, see you later. I love you too much. Bye, I love you too. The man hung up. The other men in the locker room were staring at him in astonishment, mouths wide open. He turned and asked, anyone knows whose phone is this? Okay. For some of you, it may take a while. Like Tuesday, you're like, ah. Thank you for your patience. All right. I mean, from the story, interesting. I mean, I kind of found that this, I don't know, maybe you sensed that too. This woman keeps just wanting more and more, right? But the husband, pretend husband, I don't know. This guy goes, you can have it all. You can have it all. And I don't know about how you actually listen to the story, but to me, it feels like You may think this man is a really good husband because this man just gives everything, right? The woman wants. The reason why we think that way is that because we think we can be happier once we get what we want. That's why we hustle and wrestle to get what we desire throughout our lives. It can be your career, it can be money, it can be relationship, it can be your future, it can be your school, whatever. Whatever out there, what we do is throughout our lives, we hustle and wrestle to just get that. That's what we do. We just read the story of Jacob. He did the same thing. Actually, his story is well known for that. When he was born, we talked about it last week. When he was born, he wanted to get that birthright as a firstborn. So he hustled and wrestled to get it. But after that happened, obviously his brother didn't like him that much. Let me ask you a question. Do you have the thing that was in your house every way was harmful for your house, but your parents kept it, which it can be called brother or sister. Like whenever you saw that thing, or like that thing is not good for our family, but your parents like still kept it anyway. Did you have any of those things in your home? Yeah, raise your hand. Yeah, just few of you. Okay. I had a thing too. One more question. Did you ever want to kill that thing? Yeah. You're too shy. I go out to like youth camps to speak once in a while, and I do the same message, and I ask this question: do you have that thing in your home? Never understood why your parents kept it at your home. And raise your hand. They all raise their hands. I'm like, I asked the following question: did you ever want to kill that thing? And they're like, yes. But interesting thing is, there's a little girl was just kept her hands high, and then the other girl sitting next to her doing the same thing. And then when I asked, did you ever want to kill that thing before? Yeah. And then those two girls doing the same thing. And they were staring at each other, and they started cursing at each other. Anyway, if you have a sibling, you know what it feels like, right? I have the thing too. I have a brother. He's a year younger than me, but he's been bigger than me since like when I was second grade. And he's really big. He's like, I don't know, 180 centimeter tall and 180 kilogram heavy. You'll never see him anyway, so I can't say anything. I've always wanted to kill him, but he's still alive because I didn't take an action on it. Anyway, but if you have a sibling, you know what that feeling's like, right? But here, Esau, Jacob's brother, lost his birthright to his younger brother. So he's really angry. So he had to run off. And then he came to his uncle's house. And somehow he went to this place near the well. I think near the well in the Bible is more like a club. That's where all those dating happening. Like at the well, there's girls like holding their jars on the top of their head and like dancing, and the boys come and like, hey, how you doing? And anyway, that thing happened here, and the Jacob I like this girl a lot, and her name was Rachel, and we just read the story. He was thinking, once I just get this girl, I'll be really happy. And then finally that happened, but interesting enough, after the wedding day, and on the wedding day, and the first night, and then I'm not gonna give you anything more details about first night, okay? We have a lot of minors here. Okay, so ask your parents. Anyway, so things happened. But next morning, he realized that it wasn't Rachel, it was Leah. So he went to the customer service. I'm like, this is not what I ordered. And then the department head person was like, you know what, here we are on this event called 1+1. If you ever go to Lotte Mart, they have this 1+1 section. Like, once you marry this daughter of mine, you're gonna get the other one too. Very, very awkward and unusual, but maybe it happened that way in ancient time. But what I'm trying to say is, Jacob did the same thing. He goes for something he desires. That's what his life is like. And that's our lives like too. Look at just your life. Look at the past. What have you done in your past? Very simple. You had something you desired, and you wrestled and hustled to get that. But the interesting thing is, were you really happy? Was your life complete once you got that thing that you desired? No. You had something else coming up, and you hustle and wrestle to get that too. Just repetition of that routine, that endless loop. There's a college student who took a class at the college. It was philosophy class, but he didn't do well in the midterm. So he went to the professor. He was trying to ask this philosophy professor to give him the re-exam. Okay. So I was like, "Oh, please, professor, can you give me a chance to take the exam again?" And then the professor goes, "Okay, so you're saying the goal of this conversation is to get take the exam again?" "Yes." "Let's say you achieve that goal. What will be your next goal?" And this guy goes like, "Okay, my next goal will be graduating college." I'm like, "Okay, let's say you achieve that goal. What will be your next goal?" And he goes like, "Okay, I want to graduate college, and then I want to get a good job. I want to go to good company." And I'm like, "Okay, let's say you achieve that goal. What will be your next one?" And he goes like, "Oh, once I get my job, then I would probably find somebody I love, and I will marry that lady." I'm like, "Okay, let's say you achieve that goal. What will be your next?" "Okay, I will probably make my family, have some children too." "Okay, let's say you achieve that goal. What will be your next?" "Okay, I'll do my best to work hard and get promoted in the company." "Okay, let's say you achieve that goal. What will be your next?" "Okay, after that, I will just watch my kids grow and do my best as a head of a family. That will be my goal." "Okay, let's say you achieve that goal. What will be your next?" "I'll probably retire. Retirement will be my new goal." "Let's say you achieve that goal. What will be your next?" "Grow old and old." "Okay, let's say you achieve that goal. What will be your next goal?" "Die?" And then this professor goes, "So you are having this conversation eventually to die?" And then student goes, "Never mind. I'll just not take the test again." But this is not just this, some philosophical thing happening in that conversation. It happens in our lives too. You are in a plan to achieve a certain goal right now, even right now. But let's say you achieve that goal, what will be your next? Endless loop of setting the new goal, something you desire, trying to achieve it. Once you achieve it, you set another one, and you do the same thing. Jacob's life was like that too. One thing after another, just desiring something, but never ends. Our lives like that too. How can we then just keep ourselves in that routine, in that loop? We know that it's endless, right? Because we believe that something that we want, something that we desire, something that you desire in your life, you believe that will complete your life. You think that will define who you are, that will define the worth of your life, and you think that's meaningful to you. But we are not even good at setting those kind of goals. I have a cell phone, and my cell phone is on the plan, like pay plan, and I am on the pay plan which is called 알뜰폰. Have you ever heard 알뜰폰? 알뜰폰? It sounds really difficult, but it basically means like it's cheaper plan. Okay. Anyway, when I actually got the 알뜰폰 first, it gives you. The reason is that it's cheaper. Okay, why did I ever want a cheaper plan? Because this is one thing I learned from my life, from my marriage life, which is if I spend less, my wife will get to spend more. Right? That's my love for my wife. If I spend less, that's the real actual love. Okay, I'm not just saying that I love you. I'm making it happen. If I spend less, my wife will get to spend more. But in reality, it actually goes vice versa. My wife spends more. I actually get to spend less. Okay, I'll stop there. Anyway, so I was like, okay, there's a cheaper plan for my phone. I'll do that. But uh, another thing about this cheaper plans are you actually get limited minutes. Okay. So what I had back then was like 5, 6 years ago. I had 100 minutes for a whole month, but it was fine because I don't have that many friends. I don't have a lot of people to call me. Okay, so that's fine. 100 minutes is fine. So I did okay. But what happened is that 100 minutes is plenty for me. Still, sometimes it gets a little tight. One day, it was like earlier in the month, there's one a person from our church called me. I think let me message or like call me. I need something to talk about with you. I'm like, okay. So I called the guy, and then conversation went actually longer. So I happened to talk to him on my phone about like 60 minutes. Okay, it's like 60% of all my minutes for that whole month. So I feel a little tight. So what I did was, after that conversation, I felt a little nervous. So what should I do? What should I do? Okay, whenever I have to talk to somebody on the phone, what I do is I call that person, and then I hang up. And then the person calls me. In Korea, receiving the call, the minutes don't count. When you call somebody, minutes count. So I call that person, I hang up, and then that person calls me back, and I go, oh, I thought you're busy. I'm really sorry. But I have something to talk about with you. Okay? That was my new strategy. But what happened after that is, as time goes by, all those people that I know, I didn't really have any intention to do this, but naturally, spontaneously, this is what happened. I kind of happened to sort them out to two different categories, okay? People who are worth of my minutes. Category number one. Category number two, people who are not worth of my phone minutes, okay? That's what happened. I'm not an evil person, okay? But if you are in that kind of situation, that's what happens. So if I gotta call somebody. Oh, that person is not really worth spending my minutes. So I call him, and then hang up. And there's some person that person is worth my precious minutes. I'll just use my minute, okay? But here's the interesting thing. One day, I had to call my wife. You know what I did? I called her and then hung up right away. But what did I say earlier? Why did I even get this cheaper plan? Why? Because I love my wife. But in reality, what happened is my wife was not worth of my precious minutes. You see what's going on here? We feel like we said something that, okay, I'm doing this, for that goal. But we're not doing it. We feel like we're doing it to achieve that goal. That's gonna do something for me. No. Look into your life. I mean, you had a lot of goals in your life. Any of those goals really, really completed your life? No. But that's what you believed. That's what you actually pursued. Then what should we do? What should we do? We just, let ourselves just, be just chasing that endless loop? Is this something we really got to be doing? Like I said, I do go different places to speak, especially youth camps. And 5 years ago, I was here alone, and my rest of my family were in States. And the youth group of Barley Bread Church that gathers here after us, and 11:15, they have a youth group too. And their youth pastor called me and asked me, Pastor Sonny, can you come to our summer camp and speak for our youth group? I'm like, let me think about it. Okay. I didn't say, let me think about it. I said, let me pray about it. Which basically means no. Okay? That's the excuse the pastors use, okay? Well, I'll pray about it. Okay, I'll pray about it. But I didn't want to go. You know why? Because all those other youth camps that I go, when I speak, when I say anything, and I do anything, I make them laugh, like laugh really hard. Okay, I'm that funny. But our people, our Bollywood church kids, even you guys, your hearts are so hardened. So like you're like sitting there like, okay, Pastor Sonny, do something. Yeah, try to make me laugh. You're like that. And I do my best. I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And you're like, I don't know, Pastor Sonny, is that like all you got? But elsewhere, like if I do like, they just laughing so hard. Okay, you gotta repent. Because they know all my jokes and everything, okay? So I'm like, I better not go. Like I said, my family was in States. I was talking to my daughter back then. She was like, I don't know, 8th grader. Older one, her name is Joa. And I was like talking to her. And I said, oh, you know what? That the youth pastor from Bollywood Church asked me if I can go to the camp. And she was like, oh, I'm going to that camp. I'm like, oh, really? But yeah, she asked me if I can go and speak. And my daughter was like, you gotta come. You gotta speak. You gotta come and speak for us. I'm like, I don't know. But you know all my jokes. You know all my routine. You know all my everything that I do. And she goes, yeah, but I don't really. I mean, every time I hear it, it makes me laugh. Every time I hear it, it makes me cry. But you hear that like 1,000 times already. But every time I hear it, I really enjoy it. I'm like, really? And then she goes, yeah, I am your #1 fan. I'm like, oh. I'll call that youth pastor. I'm saying, I'm going. You know what happened here? I had certain goal, not going, okay? But I just dropped it. You know why? Because my daughter, person that I love, she was like, you know what? You mean world to me. So why don't you come? Why don't you do your thing? I'm like, okay. We're Christians. What we do is now we don't just pursue our goals and we don't just believe that those goals we pursue, those goals we desire will complete our lives. We don't believe that. We shouldn't believe that. Instead, what we believe is there's another one who believes that we are meaningful without those other things. That matters to us. Jacob pursued all those little things that he desired. He thought that those little things he desired will make him happy. But none of those things made him happy. If you go to chapter 32 of book of Genesis, he wrestled with God. And God is saying, you know what? I never gave up on you. I'm the one who makes you happy. You are in a place or you're in a situation that you pursue something in your life. It can be financial thing, career thing, relationship thing, whatever. You have goals. And you hustle and wrestle to get it. But let me tell you something. Once you get it, it can make you happy, but only temporarily. You're going to try to find something else out there. You believe that will make you happy. But our God is saying, hey, listen, the meaning of your life, worth of your life, not defined by those things you desire, defined by only me. But do you believe that? If we do, we wouldn't have even started all that endless loop. We say we believe that, but we don't really believe that. 10 years ago, I don't know maybe if you've been around in Korea for longer than 10 years, you witnessed this tragic event 10 years ago. 10 years ago, there's a ferry called Sewolho sank. And it was really tragic. So many people got shocked because we were actually staring at this part of the boat floating on the water. And we were looking at it. We were staring. It was sinking. And 304 passengers were in it. They died in that tragedy, in that boat, in that ship. It was too shocking. Next day, Pastor John asked our staff, church staff, to go to that seaport just to see what's going on. So we went down there. I was there too, and I clearly remember. End of that, I don't know, dock or seaport. Their parents were sitting. Parents of those students who were in that boat sitting, and they were like staring at the horizon aimlessly. Their eyes were like empty. It was that tragic. It was that bad. Everybody was so sad about that tragedy. Oh, very shocking too. About a year later, somehow this whole thing became kind of political issue. And I felt really, I don't know, I felt really bad about that. Like, I cried for them a year ago, but now I couldn't even say anything about that issue because it became too political. So I felt bad. So I have talked to one of the pastors who were working with those parents who lost their children in that tragedy. So I asked this question. I don't know what I can do for them. Is it money? Can church give some money to them? Would that help? But this pastor goes, no, they don't need money. What do they need then? They want their story to be heard. Really? Then what can we do? You can actually set an event of a hearing. Okay, we're gonna do that. So our church actually had this little event, a hearing event. So we invited one of the parents who lost their children in that tragedy. And he was a pastor too. So he came in. We had 40, 50 people gathered together. And I was sitting there too. But this pastor got too excited because there are people and he's a pastor. So I was actually expecting him to tell us that story, what happened that night. But he started preaching to us. He was like typical Korean preacher. He was like, do you believe Jesus? Like, it was like preaching night. But I felt bad because these people didn't gather here to hear preaching. They're here to hear that story, that tragic story. So in my heart, I was like, why is he preaching? He's supposed to tell us a story, what he actually went through. He's supposed to do that. Why is he preaching? I was like, not happy. But at some point, I felt like God was whispering to my heart. I felt like he was saying, God was saying, hey, Sonny, didn't you invite him here to comfort his heart? Or did you invite him for just this event? Why do you want him to tell you the story that you want to hear? Isn't he here to be comforted? I'm like, yeah, I'm a really bad person. It's even in that moment, I want this event to be successful so that as a person who, planned the event, I can actually look successful. I was that bad. After the event, I went to the pastor. I said, that was great, Pastor. That was awesome. Thank you for sharing all that. And then he goes like, oh, Pastor Sonny, thank you for your kind words. I have a favor to ask. I'm like, okay, what is it? Can you give me a room to stay for the night? I'm like, why now? I didn't say it, but in my heart, I was like, why now? I mean, this late? Where can I get a hotel room for this guy? I mean, why didn't you ask me earlier? I'm like, I was full of complaints. And then this guy goes, the pastor goes, since I came all the way down to Daejeon, I want to go down to Jindo. I want to see my son. I'm like, oh, so sorry. It was 10 years ago. We Christians, we are the people who feel the power of pain. You know why? Because our salvation didn't come those things we desire, we achieve. Our salvation didn't come from any of those. Our salvation came from the power of pain. We say to God, Do you even understand how important this thing is to me? Do you even understand how precious this thing I desire is to me? Do you even understand how this thing that I desire will complete my life? Do you even understand the career I pursue, this relationship I pursue, this money that I pursue will complete my life? Do you even see that? Do you even understand losing something important to you? Losing something matter to you? Then our God goes, I do. I lost my one and only son. You know what? I did that because I value you. I cherished you. I did that because you are more valuable to me than anything else out there. We pursue all those things out there. We wrestle and hustle to get those. We believe that those things will complete our lives. But our God goes, you know what? You're complete already. I've done that on that tree called the cross. Your value comes from that. And I want you to believe that. Let's pray. As we pray, I want you to just look into your hearts. What have you been pursuing in your life? What do you desire nowadays? What do you wrestle and hustle for? Is it career? Is it other people's recognition? Is your family's recognition? Maybe it's been out there for a long time. Maybe you've been pursuing something for a long time, since your childhood. Once I get this, it's gonna complete my life. It's gonna prove that I'm an okay person. It's gonna show everybody that I am a fine person. You must have one of those kind of things in your heart, in your life. You desire that. You wrestle and hustle. You do your best to get that. I want you to just lay down all those things in your heart before our God. I want you to just listen to His whisper to your heart. Hey, listen. That thing that you pursue, that thing you wrestle and hustle to get, that's not going to complete your life. You're complete already. You're complete already. You think that thing matters? I gave up one thing, the person who mattered most to me, because you matter to me. You're fine already by my grace alone. And I want you to listen to His whisper. Let's pray.